All right, everybody, buckle up, because today we are diving headfirst into a story that, well, frankly, kind of shocked me. Google's dropping $1 billion in Thailand.
A billion with a B.
A-B.
Yeah, and before you start picturing like free Google Fiber on the beach, this is about a new data center and a whole cloud region. Serious stuff. And to really get this, we're going straight to the source. An official Thai government news release. We're talking primary document deep dive here.
And what's fascinating right off the bat is the collaboration level. This isn't Google just like renting some space. No, they were literally meeting with the Thai Prime Minister at, the government house. That screams partnership, strategic and high level, aimed at, well, shaping Thailand's whole digital future. Yeah, meeting with the PM himself, that's not just a photo op, that's a statement. So what's Google really after here? World domination, sure, but like tactically.
Okay, so world domination in a friendly Southeast Asian way. Seriously though, Thailand's digital economy, it's exploding, and Google wants in on that action. See, Thailand's gone cloud first, big time. Government functions, services, everything's shifting to the cloud.
Makes sense. Efficiency, cost savings.
Right, and that creates this massive opening. Google slides right in as the provider.
So they're like the arms dealers in the digital gold rush, providing the picks and shovels.
Love the analogy. And a data center there puts them right in the heart of it all, geographically too.
Southeast Asia's digital landscape, Google's right there in the thick of it. But they're not just laying cables, are they? There's more to this than just like server farms.
Way more. They keep mentioning digital skills development in Thailand, basically training people in, well, the stuff that support Google's operations. But also, it benefits Thailand overall, grows their tech talent pool.
So it's a long game, not just a quick cash grab, more like planting a seed and hoping a whole tech jungle grows up around it.
Exactly. And Thailand seems all in on being that jungle fertile ground, The Prime Minister himself has said he wants Thailand to be, and I quote, thriving hub for Google. That's their ambition laid bare, digital economic powerhouse.
Okay, on the surface, win-win, right? Google gets a booming market, Thailand gets a digital boost. But billion-dollar investments, they always come.
Strings attached.
Well, implication sounds nicer, but yeah. What do we need to be considering beyond those flashy headlines? What's lurking beneath?
Okay, big one. Thailand's clout in Southeast Asia as a whole. Could this investment make them the leader, the cool kid everyone else copies? And then there's the data privacy angle. Google's going to be handling a lot of information in a region with, shall we say, varying data security standards. That's a whole other conversation.
It's easy to get caught up in the tech is good hype. Forget about the potential downsides.
Totally. And on that note, how does this change Thailand's own tech and data laws? Do they need new ones? What do those even look like? Fascinating stuff to consider.
It's like dropping a pebble in a pond, right? Those ripples go way beyond the initial splash. Speaking of ripples, the economic impact on Thailand itself, I've seen some eye-popping numbers being thrown around.
Yeah, Google's projecting 14,000 new jobs in Thailand, but get this, 2029. And a whopping $4 billion added to their GDP, again, by 2029. Now, projections are not guarantees, I'll say that. But still, that's a lot of potential for a lot of people.
14,000 jobs, that's life-changing for a lot of families, potentially.
Absolutely, and don't forget the ripple effect, literally. This kind of investment attracts others, more foreign money flows in, supporting industries sprout up. Suddenly, Thailand's the tech-savvy darling.
A case study in how one deal, done strategically, can reshape a whole country. But with all this upside, what about the potential downsides? What could go wrong?
Well, there are always two sides to every coin, as they say. This investment has a ton of promise, for sure. But we got to consider the challenges, got to make sure everyone benefits, not just a select few. So one thing that keeps popping up in my mind, these situations, there's always a risk of too much dependence,
Right, like Thailand goes all in on Google, and then what?
Exactly. What if Google pivots, changes strategy, or the whole global tech scene shifts? Suddenly Thailand's left holding the bag.
No more Google, no more party.
Well, not quite that dramatic, but you see the point. Diversification, that's key here. Thailand's got to make sure this is part of a bigger plan, not just betting the farm on one company, even if it's Google.
Right, don't put all your digital eggs in one globally dominant basket.
You got it. And then there's the impact on, homegrown Thai businesses. Google coming in might create some opportunities, sure, but it's also instant mega competition.
So those small Thai tech startups, they're suddenly going head to head with, well, Google LE.
David versus Goliath situation, except David's got even less of a chance.
So how do you even level that playing field? How do you keep Google from accidentally squashing local innovation?
That's where Thailand's government comes in, policies, regulations, the whole shebang. They need to make sure there's space for everyone.
So support for those smaller players, funding, maybe some kind of tech incubator program.
Exactly. Or even, and this might sound crazy, collaborations with Google.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about keeping Google out. It's about making sure they play nice.
Exactly. Make it mutually beneficial. That's the sweet spot. Now, switching gears a bit, remember we talked about data privacy. That's huge GE here. Thailand has to step up its game. Regulations-wise, serious safeguards are needed.
Especially since, let's be honest, Southeast Asia's track record on data privacy is mixed at best.
Putting it mildly, Thailand's got to find that balance, attracting investment, BUT, protecting its citizens' data.
Which I imagine is easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. Transparency is key here, both from Google and Thailand's government. Open about what data they're collecting, how they're keeping it safe, what happens if or when there's a breach.
It's about building trust.
Yeah.
Showing people this whole digital thing is being handled responsibly.
100%. And we can't forget the environmental impact of all this. Data centers. Those things gobble up energy, and that means carbon emissions if they're not careful.
Right. It's easy to get blinded by the shiny tech and forget about the planet.
Happens all the time. Thailand and Google, they need to go green, renewable energy for these data centers.
Solar, wind, whatever it takes to keep this digital leap from becoming an environmental backslide.
Couldn't agree more. Sustainability can't be an afterthought.
This whole deep dive, it's really shown me how many angles there are to this one story. It's not just about, who's got the fastest internet anymore. It's way bigger than that.
Way bigger. It's about people, their livelihoods, their privacy, even the planet's future.
And Thailand's right in the middle of it all, making some really big decisions.
And the world's watching, because this could set the tone for how things go in the whole region.
So, with all that said, where does this leave Thailand? What's next for their digital dreams? When I think about it, this whole Google thing, it's like a huge stamp of approval, Thailand's arrived in the digital big leagues.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge signal to the rest of the world. Thailand's not messing around. They want to be a digital powerhouse, and that attracts attention, investment, the whole 9 yards.
It's like they put out a giant neon sign flashing, "Come to Thailand, the future is digital," and everyone's looking intrigued. So who else do you think is watching this really closely? What other industries are probably taking notes right now?
Oh, I'd say with this kind of digital infrastructure, e-commerce is going to be drooling, fintech too, even those digital health startups. Everyone wants a piece of that pie.
It's like that old saying, build it and they will come, except now it's build the digital highway and watch the innovation traffic flow.
Nailed it. And that's why this whole thing is so fascinating. It's bigger than just Google. It's about the potential to kickstart a whole chain reaction of growth and new ideas.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I gotta say, I'm feeling, cautiously optimistic. It's like Thailand's making a bold move. The payoff could be huge, but we've talked about the risks too.
Totally, and this is a turning point for Thailand. They have to make sure everyone benefits from this, not just the select few.
Yeah.
Protecting people's data, helping local businesses compete, keeping the planet in mind. Those are the keys to really making this work.
It's about finding that sweet spot, embracing the digital revolution without forgetting about the human side of things.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this story so compelling. It's forcing us to ask some tough questions about technology's role, about power dynamics in a digital world, about the kind of future we're building and who gets to be a part of it.
It reminds us that we all have a role to play in shaping that future. Whether we're writing the code or just trying to keep up, our choices matter.
100%. We can't just be passive bystanders in this. We gotta be active participants, engaged, informed, and ready to speak up.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into Google's billion-dollar bet on Thailand. We hope you've learned a thing or two, maybe sparked some interesting conversations along the way.
And remember, this digital world, it's not slowing down. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.